It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Now, some of you may not agree because you're going to say it's raining, those of you who are in Buffalo. But let me tell you this. I'm taking rain over snow any day. And it's it's getting rid of all of the salt.
Yeah.
And it's getting rid of all of the snow. Give me rain. I woke up this morning and heard rain.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right. I'm getting ready to store my snowblower.
Already? You sure?
'Cause
you know what happened last year? We got at the end of March, it kind of...
I ain't shoveling. If it snows again, I ain't shoveling. And I have a company. We have a company coming to the house. But I don't like waiting. And I know if anybody's...
Didn't you just teach on patience?
No. This is about people falling on your property and suing you.
No, I'm joking.
This is a big difference. I like my sidewalk to be clean.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't like to wait? Because sometimes I would like... Sometimes the rain or sometimes the weather kind of knock it out. You know, like the ice that we had a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
I let it wait a day or so.
Oh, no. Now, the ice, what could you do?
Yeah.
So now I did go in my basement and got one of the choppers.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah, I did. And I tell you why. I fell once this season.
Jesus.
And I fell in my garage. I'm just going to tell the truth.
You put it on? Is it on camera?
Is
Is it on camera?
I do have a camera in my garage, so that's funny. I do have a camera in the garage. I got out of the car. I went and got something out of the car. Got a phone call. So I'm on the phone with Markeith, laughing. Get out. Forget that the car is plugged in. Tripped over the cord and went sliding down the driveway at like 1 a.m, though. Oof. Thank God. I just laid there and kind of looked around. No cars. So when the ice came, because of how sloped my driveway is, if I didn't chop that up, I would have just slid down. Yeah. And the guy who did my concrete, he really did a good job because he stamped that the slide, or else we'd have slid all winter. So I got to give it up. Hammer Concrete. They did a really good job in sloping that. So I'm going to get right to it because I've seen this Empower 716 everywhere. You must have paid everybody.
Everywhere.
It was in the Challenger. It was
front page of the Challenger.
Front page of the Challenger. Isn't there a billboard?
All over the city.
Yeah.
Billboards. This Empower 716 youth entrepreneurs. I'm going to deal with that because today we're going to be talking about menthol cigarettes. To smoke or not smoke. You know, there's this big movement right now in the government, state government, about getting rid of menthol. And so you have leaders on both sides. Mm-hmm. One group of leaders says you get rid of menthol, you're affecting the minority community. The other group says health-wise we should be. So we're going to talk about that and what menthol is. We'll be talking about student fights at the library.
Yeah.
Student fights. They're now closing down early because of student fights. I'm going to read you at least one person's perspective on those fights. And maybe if I get a chance, we'll talk about this banking crisis a little bit because I know people are panicking and it's not every bank. You don't have to run and get your money out of the bank and put it in a safety deposit box. Not yet. So we're going to talk about that. Empower 716, talk to us. What's going on? This is a big deal.
Yeah, it's turning to be a big deal. I didn't know. God laid it on my heart back in November, and so we just to kind of give you the backstory. The Empower 716 was started from a podcast, and so we highlighted entrepreneurs and business owners in Western New York, particularly of color. And so from that, just because of my experience working with young people, I wanted to provide a platform for once a month. We bring on a young person and give them $500 stipend goes towards their business. And so shortly after that, M&T came on board and said, we want to jump onto this and help pay for some of the stipends. So they brought on. And then we just started getting some traction from it. And so that is kind of where the Entrepreneurs of Color Awards started. We started working with a group of people in November. And I was never in the driver's seat helping people with fundraising, things of that nature. So it was just never my kind of skill set to ask people for money. But I believe, obviously, with passion behind it and kind of, God will fulfill.
Yeah, I
the
hate people.
mission.
I hate asking people. That was the worst part about running for office is asking for the money. So I got you.
It was tough, but so the goal was basically we wanted to highlight 12 entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs of color. From Western New York, and so we got solicited the community for our nominations back in December, and then our planning committee looked at the candidate or nominees, and so we picked I think 9 individuals from Buffalo and 3 from Niagara Falls, and so on March 23rd, next Thursday, we're going to be highlighting these 12 young people who, at a very young age, I think the youngest is 11,
Wow,
the oldest is 19, and so it's funny that before I got here, we hired a company to do the videos for each of the young entrepreneurs that'll be shown during the event next week. And I was blown away.
Wow.
I was just their concept of business and understanding, having a plan, the marketing, the balancing, the school and their work. I was just intrigued.
I love it. We So let's talk about these young people, and then I'm going to try to remember to tell you about some plans here at the church for entrepreneurship for young people. Yeah. So these young people, there are, you said 9 of them?
12.
Oh, it looks like
12.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a whole that's a big 9 right there. And some of them, like this young man. From Classic Knots, Sheldon Gibbs. I have some of his ties,
He's bad. He's back.
Yeah, he's still doing this thing. And then you have Chelsea. I'm so sorry, I'm all plugged up. I'm going to talk about I got a lot to talk about in 40 minutes. Chelsea from WIVB, she's going to be one of the co-hosts or the mistress of ceremony.
Yeah.
And then you have all of these young people. Where's this going to be held?
It's going to be held at the Powerhouse next week, March 23rd from 5:30 to 8 p.m. And so we actually, as of last night, sold out. This is our second sold out. We had a capacity of 250. I didn't think we were going to make 250 people come out. And so we sold out 250, asked the venue to give us more space.
Now, I've never heard of the Powerhouse. What is it?
It's actually South Buffalo. So I don't know, you know where the Honeywell is at?
Yeah, I'll just say yeah, so that won't take up a lot of time. I'm just going to say yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know where it's at. It's right across from Madai's new sports facility down in...
okay, so this is a banquet facility? So I was about to say, for $65, we getting some food out.
Get some food, yeah. You get some good food.
$65,
better be more than some appetizers.
So there'll be food.
There's going to be food. There's a cash bar. And so we got entertainment. Jillian, the poet, she's gonna. So it's gonna be a good experience. So I think a lot of people supported. I'm really just want to thank all the sponsors. I mean, the people came through from M&T is our presenting sponsor, but I want to list the other ones. But there's so many, about 30 sponsors came through. So we got some big names in there. On there as well.
Well, I'm really happy to see this. I know I'm stopping through before Bible study to be able to be there, and I hope that we produce some more. This morning we met with youth directors to have one of our members who is a business person is going to be doing a 6-week course during the summer. Nice. For young people, and doing kind of the same thing, seeding into them afterward. Nice. And so I think this is so important to teach our young people about owning their own business, even if they go on and work for somebody else, that knowledge. Absolutely. And I got it in high school from DECA. Distributive DECA. You were in DECA?
Yep.
DECA taught me how to do my resume. I remember my first resume was at Niagara Lutheran Home, and I got the job. Like I did not my resume, how to fill out job application. Yeah. I went in on the day I got my working papers. Walked in, got off the bus to go home, walked in, did my application, was walking down the street, and they came out and got me. And said, wait. Wow. They want to see you. And I came back, and I remember the head of the nursing home said, I've never had a young person fill out an application this well. DECA, being taught.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those things are not taught anymore. So we're taking it on as a church. especially for our youth here. And everybody knows when I say our youth here, I mean any youth that comes,
Right.
Because we don't limit it. But that's what we met about today, and giving them some of the skills and connecting it to the Bible. Because you could talk about getting a job, and then you connect it to the Bible. A man who does not work does not eat, and really begin to teach those skills from the Bible. And so I want to congratulate you on Empower 716 going down. Now you still have some tickets.
No tickets. No
Oh, it's
tickets.
sold out.
Sold out. Yeah, we sold
And
out.
how many people?
We had 350 people.
That's so you
We
just letting
maxed-
the
we
people
maxed
know
out.
they are maxed out. If somebody wants tickets, you're not going to be able to get one. But
Are you streaming the event at all, or can people see it?
It's still we're working on that.
Okay.
Right now. Yeah.
even if you don't stream it, you should record it.
We are recording. We got
Good.
Jamil doing some of the video recording, so we are going to have some highlights after.
And Jamil, who I just saw in the paper this morning for his expanded podcast,
For his podcast,
room
podcast
over at,
hub. Yeah.
Beverly Gray.
Yep, he's doing his thing.
So I love it. I love what's happening in our community. We can always talk about the negative, but I think it is so important that the reason we don't talk, a lot of people don't know about the positive because we don't talk enough about it.
Right.
And so highlighting these young people, I can't get you tickets, but I can tell you how Powerhouse look when it's over. So thanks, Brother Chairman.
All right, thank you.
All right. So I got a CPAP machine. Last night was my first night. I put it online, this big CPAP machine, and a lot of you, some of you think I'm dying, and you know I'm fine. I just snore.
Yeah.
I snore. That's all.
It just helps you. It just helps you when you
Helps
stop
me
breathing.
breathe.
At night. Yeah.
But I do stop breathing at night. But anyway, so a lot of you have contacted me and told me about a smaller machine. I really appreciate it, but folks, I'm following the doctor's orders right now, and because mine is rather severe, and I breathe through my mouth and all that kind of stuff when I'm asleep, I have to have the one that I have right now. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the prayers. I was just taking you on a journey. I'm just taking you on a journey. So anyway, Last night, I don't know if I noticed any difference or not. And maybe because I'm stuffed up.
Yeah.
So my head is stuffed up. I did wake up still at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I went back to sleep like really quickly. And that the tube didn't bother me at all.
Now, when I did my sleeping test, it wasn't so much that I felt anything in the night. I woke up more refreshed because it was better sleep I was getting. Now, I was supposed to get it, but now I'll be honest, for me, it's when I'm heavier that I have more issues with sleep apnea. So when I lose weight, then I don't struggle. I don't snore as much, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So mine was more weight driven.
Well, I have to wear this thing, and I'm still stuffed. And I think that's part of the reason. So I didn't put the water in it. You're supposed to put distilled water if you want. You don't have to. But I'm I'm buying some distilled water because I woke up with cotton mouth. I was like, at about 4 o'clock when I woke up, and then you got all this stuff on your head, so you don't feel. I didn't feel like unstrapping it. Go get water. No, when I woke up, I was fine. But I did. It's so flexible now, and everything is automatic, and it's I put it on it, and you don't really hear it. It's so almost whisper quiet. And so I will see, especially after I don't have his head cold anymore, how it works. But it really wasn't a huge deal. And maybe I was excited about putting it on, to be very honest, because I've just dealt with the sleep apnea for so long and not even knowing I had it. I thought this was the normal way, and I bought everything from mattresses. I have the bed that goes up and down, good pillows. But it is really a matter of how my skull is structured and other things. So end of the day, day one, fine. I'll give a report next week and see whether was I more. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I was more rested. But I did get back to sleep quicker. Because when I wake up, I'm up for 45 minutes. Yeah. And I'm doing all kinds of tricks in my head to try to get back to sleep. But I just remember waking up, looking at the clock, going, "Oh, we're here again." And then it was over, and I was gone back out again. And then I slept the entire rest of the night. So that's a good thing.
That's good.
And I could look and see how many events I had of not breathing, and I had an average of 1.5 per hour.
Wow.
Yeah, 1.5 per hour. So imagine those were hours that I was waking up trying to catch my breath and all that I didn't, So
and it also disrupts your partner's sleep or your wife's sleep, because
Yeah.
then every time you jump and startle, then they wake up and they checking.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I guess I've had it so long. I didn't know. She would say, especially after it was identified, that there would be times that I just wasn't breathing.
Yeah.
And then she would just kind of like either move a little bit so I didn't know that. And so those of you who have CPAP, I appreciate it, but I honestly, I'm going by the doctor's orders. I'm not. I know. Thank you for all of the suggestions. And if this doesn't work, what my doctor said is we'll do something else.
Right.
But he's a doctor. He wanted to start here, and I have a great pulmonologist. Great. I love him with everything, and he has just done so much for me and my health. And so I want to live as long as I can, the long as the Lord wants me to be here. But I just want that quality of life. So the CPAP journey. But speaking of journey and breathing, there's this big debate now. Now the governor, so a lot of people might not understand how state government works. It's a lot different than like city government. We're doing laws in the city all year long. The only time we're out is in August. The state does all their stuff up to budget time. So the major laws, everything happens, and it has to be done by May 1st, right? Is that the budget deadline?
No, April 1st.
April 1st. I'm moving it.
So it's
April,
actually
May.
two.
Yeah, April.
There's two big law pushes in the state: the budget and the end of session. That's it.
End of session.
Yep.
But the budget is when they go in.
Yep.
Like this is the huge part. So the governor is trying to get several things passed. One is about affordable housing and adding more money to affordable housing, and then making it so that the suburbs basically cannot refuse affordable housing.
Right.
By having a goal of how many, what percentage of affordable housing they have to have. And then if they don't, will suspend the zoning laws of a town. So you got people out in the suburbs freaking out because they don't want low income people, let me just get to it, living in their neighborhoods or have it, they don't want you way down Main Street and you paying $80 and HUD paying the rest. So that's a part of her budget. But one of the parts in her budget that is getting a lot of attention is about menthol and menthol cigarettes. Now, I smoked from 18 to maybe 9. When I was in the Air Force, I smoked for a couple of years, and just a bad decision, just dumb. I'll say it again, dumb. And it was because I was bored, and I was a cop, and we'd sit in the car, and my boss, who was my partner in the squad car, he smoked, and he smoked Cools. And so one time I tried his Cools, and even in high school, I think I tried smoking Moors, but I wasn't smoking them right. And you young people, Moors were brown cigarettes. Nobody else was making a brown cigarette, so it looked like a little cigar. Yeah. I didn't know how to smoke it. Mm-hmm. So I know menthol, and because he would drink coffee, so we'd have coffee in the car, in the police car, and a cigarette, and it gives you this kind of little tingly feeling.
You get that jitter, you get the jitters, you get the jolt, and
you get that wake up, right? So I definitely understand it. I identify with it, but the governor is trying to get rid of menthol. One group of pastors got together, had a press conference, and I want to be clear, this ain't about no groups or this is just information and conversation. And they had a press conference, and they said that it basically will affect Black and brown communities more because historically, black and brown communities want menthol more. Now, let me give you some education about menthol very quickly from a trusted source. The chemical compound menthol makes cigarettes easier to smoke and harder to quit. Menthol creates, and this is off of truthinitiative.org, that does a lot of research and all that kind of stuff. Menthol creates a cooling effect, reduces the harshness of cigarette smoke. Because if you don't have that little menthol, that little cotton stuff in front of it, and you smoking straight cigarette like the older people used to do, and some people still do, you're pulling in straight tobacco into your lungs, right? Those effects may make menthol cigarettes more appealing to young, inexperienced smokers, and research shows that they are more likely to addict youth. Because African Americans use menthol cigarettes at higher rates, menthol also contributes to health inequities. Menthol-flavored e-cigarettes, as well as other nicotine-containing products like pouches and lozenges, are also a concern. Among high school students who use flavored cigarettes in 2021, nearly 30% use menthol e-cigarettes. And with menthol e-cigarette sales on the rise, there are concerns that menthol and tobacco products most popular with young people are playing a role in addicting a new generation to nicotine. I was told yesterday that Roswell right now is trying to do a big push about these e-cigarettes and the menthol and all that. So what is menthol? Real quick, menthol is a chemical compound extracted from peppermint.
Yep, because it gives you that mint flavor.
Or corn mint plants, or created synthetically. So that's menthol. It reduces the harshness of cigarettes. I said that already. Menthol was first added to cigarettes in 1920s. Although most cigarettes contain some menthol, certain brands use menthol in greater quantities, making it detectable as characterizing flavor. Current law prohibits the use of characterizing flavors. So flavors you can't have, but you can have menthol,
right,
which is basically a flavor. So the governor is saying no in her budget proposal. She wants to get rid of it. I want to talk about this, and I want to know what Cools never made anyone cool. I agree. It was dumb. First time I smoked a Cool, tried to smoke a Cool, was on the NFTA bus going to Bennett, trying to impress some girl. She smoked, so I was like, could I have a cigarette? Never had I had a cigarette. And this is what I did. She gave me a cigarette. I lit it and inhaled like this.
You took that hard pull.
Oh, and then I took that hard cry and cough. And she told my friend who she knew, I can't be bothered with nobody's kids. Oof. You don't even know how to smoke.
Oof.
That's peer pressure for you.
Oh, man. That is terrible. See, my generation in high school wasn't Cools. We were Newports.
Oh, yeah. Newports so, came along.
Yeah, so, it was quick. Hey, man, give me a Noop.
Oh, is that what y'all called it?
Give him a Noop.
Yeah, I didn't use the whole word.
No.
So what do you think here? Let me say that African-American smokers predominantly use menthol cigarettes. In 2018, 85% of African-American smokers aged 12 and older preferred menthol cigarettes. So you got some leaders saying, Governor, if you get rid of this, you are affecting African Americans. And then you have others who are saying, we need to be getting African Americans off of smoking.
Right. I do think that's the bigger issue, because we're talking about that's like solving. Well, you're trying to eradicate or fix one part of the problem, but not addressing the bigger problem. So you want to get rid of menthol, but there really should be efforts in how do you reduce people from smoking. And so I do agree with that, because if people are going to smoke, you prefer it to be healthy. Now, I will say people who still smoke pack cigarettes, and they almost up to $10 a pack, God bless you, because that is crazy. That is a crazy feeling to walk in, and no matter what they price it at, you're like, give me a carton.
And I'm going to be honest, I totally understand.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not being like this harsh guy about it. Or I'm really never like that. I try to have. I taught this last night. More grace than gift.
Yeah.
You know. But at the end of the day, Amber Bowling says on Facebook, yes, it was. Now I can't stand. So she did too. I can't stand smoke. It stinks so bad. I would tell myself, wow, I smelled like that. Disturbing. How I quit was the same day because of God. Thank him so much. People don't believe me. I quit the same day. It wasn't actually me. I told him this prayer.
I did too.
Yeah, I quit cold turkey. I didn't, I mean, and like I said, I'm 58 years old. The last time I even can remember having a cigarette to my mouth, I must have been 20 years old or something. And it, like I said, dumb decision. And when I did get tumors on my lungs and they asked me, did you ever smoke? And I was like, yeah, 18, 19. They're like, we don't count that. That's so far down the road.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I feel the same way. I think that helping our people understand the dangers of smoking. I came from a family of smokers. My grandmother smoked. Everybody smoked. And I remember as people in my family, and I don't know who does now. I mean, it's kind of faux pas. I've never been with my family in the last 10 years and somebody's in the house smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
I'd say most of the smokers do not smoke anymore. And I think it's a process of getting us off of these things that will kill us.
Right.
And because cancer is real and the results of cancer have been directly related to smoking tobacco and cigarettes. And so at the end of the day, I think that education is more important. Do I agree that the governor should take away menthol? I think, just my opinion, I think it shouldn't be as easy to obtain. I do agree with taxing it more because here's the problem. Cancer, when people get cancer, you have to pay for medical care.
Yep.
And if a person does not have medical care or if they have government-sponsored medical care, that comes from the tax dollars.
Yep.
So if a person wants to continue to smoke, and I'm okay, as some of the Democrats are in Albany was saying, tax it higher, but utilize that money in the healthcare and research field.
Absolutely.
Not to pad the government's pocket.
Absolutely.
Take that extra tax and say to a Roswell, say to whomever who is treating patients, who is researching, here's millions more, so that we can help you to get people to understand the dangers of smoking. And I'm not going to say I remember the year, I remember the day. I just remember one day saying, this is really stupid.
Yeah.
And I just stopped. I just really just stopped because it made no sense. My oldest son, Markeith, when Markeith's mother joined True Bethel and we were down at 491, and it was on my birthday, I'll never forget it, October 23rd, and I was preaching about the dangers of different things, and I talked about smoking and how I equated smoking to sin was that it was harming the body.
Right.
It was harming the temple, right? And that day, I remember asking for a garbage can, and they brought me a garbage can, and people started bringing their cigarettes up, and Markeith's mother was one of them.
Right.
Later, like the next year, if it was even a year, and she said she never thought about smoking being bad. I remember her saying that. I never really thought about this.
Right.
She ends up with cancer, and then she passes. But thank God she had given it up.
Right.
So I think that effort to educate our people, for me, and again, this isn't about taking sides. Well, it is about taking sides, and that's okay. This isn't against somebody.
Right.
For me, the whole effort of the menthol or not to have menthol, we got to get to the point of really educating our people and encouraging them not to smoke, period.
And like you said, and like the pastors were saying, if it's going to create a health disparity, to me, then fix the disparity, fix the access to healthcare, put those funds even beyond education. The education is good, but also let's fix the disparity so we have more quality access to health care.
Absolutely.
So if I am going to continue to smoke, I don't have to. Well, the only place that can treat me if I get cancer is Roswell.
Yeah.
So, we need more places of access and quality health care.
Yeah, I think, let me see. Chuki says you used to be able to smoke in hospitals.
City Hall, too.
There was a time where smoking was just acceptable. Well, you could smoke everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
You could smoke everywhere. You could smoke on an airplane.
Yep.
You could smoke on a bus. And airplanes, and I have been on an airplane recently that had ashtrays. They were sealed.
Yeah.
But that's how old the plane was. It still had the old ashtray
crop dust it.
in the armrest. It had and they were, like I said, welded shut. But you could sit right on the plane and light a cigarette. When the laws came out about not smoking in cars, you know it's against the law to smoke in your car with children.
Yeah.
And you could be fined. And I agree with that, but most of those things came with kicking and screaming. And so did seatbelts, because there are people saying the government shouldn't be regulating what I can do and what I can't. And now let me say this. I agree to an extent, unless I got to pay for it.
Right.
If at the end of the day I got to pay for it, then I do think I get some say.
Right.
If you want to walk around here like I saw people yesterday because there was a little sun out and with shorts on, that's okay. That's up to you. That's your body.
Right.
That's your body, your choice. Go put on your shorts.
Absolutely.
But if you're going to smoke and then it's going to come back on the taxpayer, then I do think government has some responsibility in this, and so I am not the one that says you have to get rid of menthol, and I'm not the one to say you have to keep it. I'm saying we need education because it's killing our adults and it's going to kill our young people.
Yeah.
That's just it. I mean, we don't allow young people to go in the liquor store.
Nope.
And we obviously young people now can't buy cigarettes, but they have great access to cigarettes. I mean, no adult is out there like, well, not no adult. There are more adults who will say you can have a cigarette than you can have a drink.
Absolutely. Because, at the end of the day, I think a lot of cultures, because I won't just put us on black people, will always say, I'd rather you try this with me than try it in the street. And whether that's
I never heard that at home.
Yeah, whether it's cigarettes, weed, bottles and beer. Like I remember my dad gave me a sip of beer. I might have been 4 years old. And I remember, like you said, before it was a law, my dad was told when I was a kid to stop smoking in the car with us because he would smoke with the windows up. Mm-hmm. And he was instructed when we were kids before anybody was doing a big law push. So I think, like you said, it's the right thing to do and is needed.
Yeah, I totally agree. Here's something interesting fact in this article. Menthol cigarettes use was correlated with more lifetime psychiatric hospitalizations in a study of young adult smokers with severe mental illness. Among individuals with substance abuse disorders, more than half of smokers use menthol cigarettes, compared to 30%. Now, some of these statistics they throw out, and I wonder, is there a real correlation or is there just statistical data? Youth remain the age group most likely to use menthol cigarettes. Kamal says, we must learn and teach about the precious nature of the lungs and the danger of smoking anything. Carolyn Lane says, also the tobacco industry purposely targets and markets in black communities on purpose. Now, I will say that now, I'll just say this, and we did have a store owner that was putting up some stuff that I thought shouldn't be on the outside of a store. And big ups to him. He painted over it when he heard my dismay, came to City Hall and apologized. But here's what disappointed me. The amount of people who were mad at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got Bart Simpson up smoking cannabis and then signs of cigarettes. And when I said this needed to come down, pridging this, pridging that, I should pay the guy to put it back up. folks, we got it. And then
Yeah.
we
And,
dying.
and it wasn't just us that was outcried.
Yes.
It was the neighbors in that community.
The neighbors in that community.
Because I mean, I passed up and down Jefferson. I saw the building getting painted, but I didn't know what was going there.
Yes.
And then that night, somebody was like, "Hey, we don't want this."
Yes.
So it's our responsibility because you saying that you miles away.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But at the end of the day, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with somebody being mad with me for trying to keep our children protected, for trying to teach our people. Be mad.
Yeah.
You got mad when I talked about the looting. Be mad.
Yep.
At the end of the day, somebody has to say it. I always call it the black eye syndrome. My first black eye
Yep.
that I got. My second one was from my aunt, but long story. Yeah, my aunt blacked my eye. This yellow boy problems. My first one came from a kid at school named Jack, and I always tell this story. And I may tell it at an event I got to speak at. Jack was chasing us around the room. I went to school in the suburbs and for elementary, and it was only me and one other black girl in our class, and Sylvia. Jack was going around the room. The teacher was out of the room, and he was clapping the erasers in people's face. And he went to go clap it in Sylvia's face. And I said, Jack, don't clap that eraser in her face. And he came right over. And I said, don't clap. He said, if you get up, I'm gonna punch you in the face. He clapped. I got up. He punched me in the face. We went down on the ground fighting. Of course, by the time teacher came, it was over.
Right.
And I was okay. I had a little black eye right here. I always say this, the black eye syndrome. And I was proud of that black eye.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I stood up for what was right.
I was going to say, you've been standing up and fighting for other people since elementary school.
Elementary school.
Wow.
Our class was in Randall Baptist Church across from ECC. It was Faith Christian of the chapel at the time. And I said, it makes no sense to always be worried about getting a black eye and then complain you got a black eye. Got a black eye? I got a black eye because I stood up for what was right. So whether it was the store or even when I did the law on smoking in the park, that was with Roswell. Roswell came to me and said, we don't have a law on smoking in the park. And we did a law.
Yep.
Now you cannot smoke in the you're not supposed to be smoking in the city park. But with the cigarettes and the menthol, I'm going to take a black eye on this one. I just don't think I think that it's okay to raise the prices if it's going to help with healthcare and education to get our young people. I'm going to bring Roswell in to even speak to our young people about this is part of our revamped youth program here about the dangers of e-smoking. I have to of e-cigarettes. I'm going to bring them in to let them see it, let them see the results and how dangerous it can be. So we're scheduling them to come in on a Thursday night with our young people. This is a part of the conversation that needs to be addressed. People complaining and being mad in the face of doing the right thing, and then get mad if you choose to mind your business. Exactly. If you don't say nothing, where the black leaders at? Then if you say, so get used to it.
First of all, so let's be honest. They don't say where's the black leader.
Yes, they do.
It's where's Pridgen? Where's Pridgen? Where he at? let's be honest.
No.
Let's be honest.
They say where's the black leaders? Same thing they did during the the storm. They said where the black churches. They ain't say where True Bethel. They said where the black churches. Right? That's what they say. We already got a call. So in a minute, as we close out, we're going to be talking about these student fights. What do you think about the menthol? What do you think? Do you think that the government, and you can put it on Facebook or you can give us a call. Do I have a sheet? Do I have my advertising sheet? Where is it? Right here?
Probably
all
tucked underneath this.
So I'm almost off the air, but you can give us a call at 541-0866. 541-0866. I want to know what you feel about the menthol thing. Who we got on the phone? Hey, Kamal. Well, you're going to talk to him over there, then I don't have to holler.
Go ahead, how y'all doing?
Good, brother. How you doing?
I'm thankful. I like the topic you're talking about, but I want to bring one other aspect into it.
Always.
With the legalization of recreational marijuana, you should talk about the dangers and the precious nature of our lungs and the danger of smoking anything, not just menthol cigarettes or not just cigarettes, but any anything that you put into your lungs has an impact. So people need to be cautious about the dangers of smoking anything.
I agree. And come on, I'm going to have somebody come on from Roswell to talk about that soon. So I totally agree, but I didn't even think about cannabis.
Yes, sir. Just be cautious. That's all. Be careful as you consume poisons in this world, whether alcohol, tobacco, any kind of thing. Be careful when you consume or engage with things that are deadly.
Amen.
Could be deadly. Thank you.
Amen. Thanks, Kamal. Kamal always brings us wisdom, knowledge, and I appreciate him. But I really do want to have Roswell come on the show. We're going to have a teaching for young people here at the church. Just a lot going on. I'm excited about this season. So let me see if anybody on Facebook. Yeah, we got a lot of participation. Cigarette. Shuki gonna say when you talked about they say where's Bridges. Shuki gonna say it in the special needs community where's Dante's mom?
I can't.
But I mean, there's it's bittersweet. The Lord puts us and gives us platforms, and then sometimes people, that's all they know is that person or that pastor, and it just comes with the territory. We're the black eye, right? Tina Johnson says cigarettes over the years has a lot to do with my illness that I'm going through today. No, I don't have cancer, but my hurt, wheezing, breathing, etc. Amen. 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 Send 200 stars to pin your comment here. What does that mean? Oh, Facebook doing new stuff. It's doing new stuff. So I wonder how people feel. Let me see.
Let's see. Amber says, tell me this. Do you really think that vicious commercials about smoking going to help stopping from smoking? Nope, it's disturbing. I called CBS to remove that one commercial of the black woman. My grandson would run and cry because he was scared. They did remove it, and I don't see it anymore. And she's talking about that one where she's sitting in the bed and she got to put the little box up to her throat, and that's the effect.
I want you. So, in my opinion, if the child is running from it because they're scared, it's getting across, and hopefully the child will never smoke. I know it's tough, but soft stepping ads don't work all the time. I know when I see the ads as an adult, I do think about that could have been me.
Yeah.
And if I ever picked up that behavior again, that could be me. So
I got a question, and this goes.
I think the hour that is shown is important.
That's probably
not during cartoons,
right?
Yeah.
So I know my generation in school, we had the DARE program in school. I don't now if somebody can put in Facebook what DARE stand for, I don't even remember anymore. But did the fried egg in the pan work for you? It was like, this is your brain on drugs?
Well, not for me because I never did drugs like that. So I'll be honest. It didn't. I grew up at St. Luke.
Yeah.
None of us that I remember were participating in drugs. I remember finding out somebody used some cannabis one time, and Lord, holy hallelujah! I was all broke down and hurt and all that. So I have of all the lies that have been told to me, and some are truths. The one lie about me being a drug dealer, all that. I know nothing. I know nothing about a consistent life of drug use. So no, I didn't. It didn't do anything.
I mean, it didn't do anything. I don't think it did anything for our generation either. Like you just,
it was about food.
Yeah, it made me want some fried eggs. Like,
but now show me somebody that you show a picture of them healthy and show a picture of them suffering with cancer. Oh, it definitely does.
Yeah, and that's where I think the e-cig vape movement, when they started showing you the popcorn lungs and stuff filling up, because even though they're saying, it's the same principles, that's sometimes the difference between like the straight tobacco cigarettes and the e-cigarette, because of the other chemicals that make your popcorn lungs and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And that's why I want Roswell to come in and talk to our youth on a level they can really understand, because I can get up in the pulpit all day and say it, but when the evidence And you know what? And it's probably not just young people that need to see it. It's probably some adults that maybe Roswell needs to come over and do classes with adults and children. But I think that separate. But I think that's so important. Speaking of which, before I talk about these fights in the school, this mental health thing that we got going on at this church right now is just fantastic. We've partnered with Best Self, and on Thursday nights, if you haven't heard about it, we have healing circles, and it's just people being able to get together and talk and work through some things and non-judgmental and so I just want to say big ups to Best Self for this partnership. We make, this is not something that, we getting paid to do. We wanted that partnership. They wanted that partnership and to be in our community and to be in a safe space. So you could come at 6:00 on Thursdays. Nobody's psychoanalyzing nobody. Nobody's forcing anybody to talk. You can just sit in the room. You ain't got to say nothing.
Yeah.
And they come up with different topics and talk about different things. And then we have the Bible study at 7:00. And I just want to say this as a shameless plug before True Bethel. We are creating right now our new youth zone room. That's going to have video games, and those of you like Pac-Man, we got the games, and that's where our youth are going to be for their youth nights and the nights that the Thursday night at 6:00, and really helping them with life skills and connecting those life skills to the body of Christ, to our belief system. So I'm really excited about that, and hearing more and more about mental health is exciting. Buffalo Library, as I get ready to close, Buffalo Library has decided to close early temporarily because of an influx of fights among students. So this is the new hangout spot of where students are now fighting because a lot of them transfer their buses downtown, so they go over to the library. Rod Watson wrote an article that says, I wonder if the kids causing mayhem in downtown Central Library ever think about the fact that the ramifications, despite obvious social progress, remain so much bigger than their individual beefs. He says, I wonder if they think that the fact, like it or guess what we didn't do?
Yeah.
Sorry, he was probably standing by too. I'm going to go off the air 5 minutes early so that we can do our sponsors. I wonder if they think about the fact that, like it or not, and fair or not, their actions reverberate far beyond their immediate clique. I wonder if they think or even know about Robert S. Abbott, given that the library has had to temporarily close at 3 p.m. weekdays until it can find a way to stop student fights and calm things down in the stacks. The answer to all those questions is undoubtedly no. Now, I want to pause here because when you shut down the library, there are some kids that need the library open.
Yes.
And I know I've heard both sides of the argument. The library just need to be able to control it. Let's be honest. You go to school to become a librarian. You ain't go to school to become a referee.
No.
And a lot of these, I'm sure these librarians ain't jumping in the middle of fights.
No.
Especially, this is just getting ridiculous. That's another argument for teaching accurate Black history in schools. But it's also an argument for the reality that the most important education has to start long before then, especially for kids of color. Now, I'm just going to say this, and I'm grown enough, and I don't care whether people like it or not. There are a lot of things that Rod Watson writes I just don't agree with. I do not. And I think that at times that, to be very frank, I think that at times that he blames Black people, Black leaders for everything. There are pieces in this that I totally agree with about the teaching of Black history, about how important it is, demographics of the city school system, not to mention online videos of other incidents. There's no dancing around the fact that a lot of problems are with African American kids. In fact, fights have even broken out over the years at Juneteenth Festival. Now, the one thing I do want to say, though, we highlight about the fights at Juneteenth. There are fights and there are different things that happen at All festivals.
All festivals. Yes.
Because I saw a lawyer's ad this week for call me if you get a DWI during St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Changed his ad.
Yeah.
That's not fighting. That's DUIs. Mm-hmm. So let's not pretend that other communities do not have fights or do not have something. Because when we talk about fights, some communities, they got an opioid problem right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm not covering up ours.
Right.
What I'm saying is, let's not pretend the same way we just had the chairman here, Robert Lowry here, and he's talking about great youth. There are some youth that are acting out, but I am not going to paint with a broad brush our youth.
And you know what I think it is? The bigger problem is in some of these other communities, they're not recording to be in the shade room. They're not recording to be on World Star. Mm-hmm. So we're quick to see something. Next thing you know, we grab the phone and we want the next video that's trending. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And in some of these other parts of the city, when they fight, police get called. Now, whether they got friends in the department.
Come on now.
Whether they call their friends.
This has been proven.
Right. They call their friends in the department. Next thing you know, everything sweeps away. And guess what? They're back at the same bar, either the next night or the next week, doing the same thing and slapping each other up. It's because they didn't record it and put it all over the internet.
Absolutely. He says, in fact, it's broken out at Juneteenth, the annual celebration, blah, 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 blah. Somehow perhaps seduced by the gains of blah, 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 of civil rights movement, some real, some just on paper, a whole generation. Now, this is what I'm going to say. Another shameless plug. Because one of the things that is going to be in the curriculum for our youth is about friendships, is about gossip, is about all those things that end up leading oftentimes to fight. Somebody said something, I heard this, and I do agree we have to teach it. Yep. We have to teach it in the home. We have to teach it in the church. And one of the curriculums that I ordered and I was expressing to the youth leaders here, definitely for a suburban church, because it doesn't teach the life skills, but I'm utilizing the pattern of how to teach things from this thing. But at the end of the day, I do believe that urban youth, especially brown and black children, need a different type of curriculum in schools, in churches. I'm going to keep saying churches, synagogue, wherever you go for your religious instruction. The community centers even, the community must see this as a crisis of behavior that eventually can lead to jail. And what I've told, and I'm not going to act like my kids ain't never had a fight, but when they do, I will sit down and have a conversation with them like, okay, this was a pushing and shoving, but what happens if you had pushed hard enough, right, and somebody fell and busted their head and died? Mm-hmm. You go from being a student to being on ferry. Yep. And how important that is to, about watching your anger, about, not reacting always physically, and involving them. And so I try to make sure that they're, when my kid calls and says he wants to stay up, the other week he called and said, could I stay up to school at 5 o'clock? Yep. I'll pick you up. If I don't pick you up, somebody pick you up, because I want them to stay involved and in positive environments. We can't protect them always, but I think as a community, we've got to say enough of that is enough.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing, because like you said, as you started reading the article, I was just thinking, we can't have our malls open past a certain time because of fights. Now we're closing education centers because of fights. It's becoming a bigger problem, and I'll also say it's not just a Buffalo problem. Same thing's going on in my home state. The last time I went, Delaware, the mall's closing at 7 still, and this because of fights. And now you need guardians past 5 p.m. and for under 17. So it's happening everywhere. So we're not just putting this on a Buffalo problem.
Absolutely,
this is a nationwide problem in our urban communities.
Absolutely, and I'm going to be honest. I think that the internet has a lot to do with it. Social media. That's what I should say. That social media has a lot to do with it. It's instant information. It's all of the garbage talking very quickly, fast information without any filter. Yep. So I'm excited, and I don't call it censoring, but I do think that social media companies have to be held to a standard that when you report something, that it comes down and it is for real reviewed.
Yes.
Because without that, this is just the Hatfields and McCoys at a whole nother level. I'm going to get off early because, Rashad, I didn't do the 12:30 sponsors. I want to thank our sponsors, both Hobson's, the Dr. Dry Cleaning, and Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home. I'm going to throw it over to the station early so that they can give the good commercials. All right, until next week, power to the people.
When it comes to something as personal as your clothes, you need to deal with somebody you can trust. That's why so many people turn to Hobson's Dry Cleaning, conveniently located in the heart of the community at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming.
When you take your clothes to Hobson's, you can trust that they'll be ready on time.
You can trust that your whites will be white.
You can trust that you'll always get a fair price and service with a smile.
You can even trust that you won't have to get out of your car if you don't want to. Hobson's has a drive-through window for your convenience.
Trust is what it's all about at Hobson's Dry Cleaning.
Hobson's Dry Cleaning, your one-stop dry cleaners serving the community for over 30 years at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming. Call 891-8298. That's 891-8298.
Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home has 3 locations to serve you in Buffalo. 347 Peckham, 2258 Bailey Avenue, and Providence Memorial Chapel at 1275 Sycamore. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes offers traditional services, and they have services for all faiths. And at Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, they have air-conditioned parlors and chapels. Financing is available, as is limousine service. At those difficult moments in your life, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes is available where you are with counseling services. Call toll-free 877-885-7734. That's 877-885-7734. Or locally 845-5545. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. We are here to serve you, here to serve this present age. Call today, toll-free 877-885-7734. Or email info@brianklewisfuneralhome.com.